Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lilith Astrology Weekly Astro Report. I'm your astrologer, Adama, and I'm here to talk to you about what's coming up the week ahead. First things first, though, I want to encourage you all to check out my new memberships on lilithastrology.com and support the work that we do. We have Maribel Santana, who does our tarot energy readings every month. I have Georgie Smith, who runs the amazing Instagram Color Me Lurid, who also contributes and designs all of the great imagery that you see here on lilithastrology.com. We have a social media manager, I have my assistant Petra, which some of you talk to. So support the work that we do. We are an independently run organization. We're an independently run media outlet to bring you cosmic intuition and insight every single week. And so we literally depend on you. I'm financing this all myself. So support the work. Check out memberships below. With your membership, you can get things like access to monthly horoscopes for your sign instead of just the collective energy, like I'm doing here complimentary on YouTube. You receive either a $10 off coupon depending on what tier you buy on any reading you want at any time with me. There's a included transit reading with the top tier, and you also will gain access to amazing webinars, different events, and just different perks. So check those out below in the link, and let's get started on the week ahead. So as we enter the week, today on Sunday, Mercury moves into Pisces. So Mercury is in its detriment in the sign of Pisces. It does not perform as clearly, and it takes on a very dreamy, creative, intuitive thinking persona when it is in the sign of Pisces. So unlike, someone who has Mercury in Gemini, where it's very like quick air energy, and you can really process your thoughts a lot better. When, Mercury is in Pisces, it has a little bit of harder time processing thoughts because it's just in a different space than the rest of us. Pisces are extremely, it's a very extremely psychic energy. And so when you have that watery Mercury, it's like you're trying to navigate the waters, and it's an air planet. It's an air energy. So now Mercury is gone into Pisces and it's, detriment, and it's moved into shadow. So 2 weeks before a planet goes retrograde, like Mercury, there's a shadow period. And for Mercury, it's about 2 weeks. And that's going to happen on the 16th. And I'm going to touch upon that as we get closer to. And follow me on Instagram because I always warn about, and I hate to say warn about Mercury retrograde because it really isn't a time you should be afraid of. But anyway, now it's going into shadow. So I always put into practice my best tips for Mercury retrograde during shadow period, because there have been times that, I've committed to something or signed a contract and it just didn't work out because of the shadow period, or there was some miscommunications because of the shadow period. So I really just say practice, live your life like you would during Mercury retrograde in the shadow period. That's kind of my take on it. So Mercury moved into shadow today in the sign of Pisces, and we also have Mercury sextiling Pluto. Then we also have Venus sextiling Pluto. So today, I think, even though Mercury is in a more of a challenging position, there's a lot of creative energy at play. And with that great, sextile with something that's transformative like Pluto, a lot of ideas that come to mind today, or some things that you put on the back burner, and then now moving, into Sunday and into the week, you may feel inspired to come up with some great ideas and to kind of put them into action before this retrograde, mess starts. And I think also last week I commented on this, and I went through it myself, just especially earlier in the week with that, square to Mars. The creative energy was kind of not getting channeled correctly, and a lot of you may have felt anxious or stressed or just didn't know how to move forward. But I think today's energy is really giving you the creative clarity, or it's just a really great energy, I think, today to move forward with something that you may not have felt as clear about. And I think that it's something that can, definitely change and start to change things, especially after coming out of such a pivotal month in January with the Pluto-Saturn conjunction and the lunar eclipse. So definitely a great day. I hate to sound cheesy, but you could journal if you want to today. Really like do a little Sunday routine to get yourself into the week. Do some research, check out, something that like new hobbies or new ideas, or just try to, expand your horizons a little bit today, because I think that anything that does come up can really act as a catalyst to continue this journey of change that you've been having since the year started. I think it's also really important to use this creative energy, use this great aspect, that sextile, before Venus moves into Aries, which Venus is in its detriment in Aries, and that will be forming a tense connection with Pluto and Capricorn and Saturn and Capricorn. So I think utilize this aspect this week, and also not to mention the fact, which I talked about earlier in the video, Mercury is going to go retrograde mid-month. This would be a great week, I think, to tie up some loose ends, sign anything that you have been kind of sitting on and not moving on, and keep things moving forward, because there is going to be a slowdown as we head further into shadow and on into Mercury retrograde, the sign of Pisces. So as we move further into the week, on Wednesday, midweek, Uranus in Taurus is going to make a sextile to Mercury, which just would have moved into Pisces. So some of you may have some interesting news come in that you've been waiting on. You may get a call from someone that you just haven't heard from in a while and weren't sure where you stood with this person. There may be someone completely out of the blue, and maybe you planted a seed towards the end of last year. This may come around and come up, and finally you're hearing back and getting, final solution on something you've heard. Like, Uranus is a planet of shocks, surprises, revolution, and quick change. And Mercury is a planet of communication. So when you have this aspect happening, this nice aspect, the news that you hear can be beneficial and can be positive and can be nice. So I definitely think keep your ear to the ground. I think especially, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, as we lead into the full moon in Leo. This is another culmination of creative projects or romance or love, self-expression, things having to do with that. So I think midweek, it's very interesting that you may hear, the news you've been waiting for, or, if some of you have been looking for a job and trying to move into a different industry and completely shift into something new, you could hear news about that on Wednesday as we head, further into the week. And so, this could be a real culmination, especially as we head further into the week. On Sunday, we have the full moon in Leo. So definitely keep, your ear to the ground and, have hope and keep plugging along. I think you'll finally get the resolution that you've been waiting for around midweek. So as we move to the end of the week, on Friday, we have Venus entering into the sign of Aries, where it is also in its detriment. So now we have Mercury in its detriment and Venus in its detriment in the sign of Aries. So when Venus is in the sign of Aries, it is definitely a straight shooter. It's very, because, Venus rules the sign of Libra. And Libra is all about balance and relationships and peace and harmony. And Aries is the complete opposite. So when Venus is in an opposite energy, it just doesn't act to the maximum way that Venus would act. So Venus in Aries is very go-getter, a lot of drive, a lot of fire, straight shooter, goes after what they want. It's a kind of Martian, Mars energy. So that's why it's in its detriment. So honestly, this could help give you some motivation after, more of a dreamy transit with Venus in Pisces. Although that was exalted, I think this Venus and Aries energy could give you the fire that you've been needing and the boost, especially as we go into the full moon in Leo, which is fiery. I'm a Leo moon myself natally, so I know like that energy, it's like a fire blazing inside emotionally. So you really could be driven before the end of this, all the planets being direct, before that is over, and before we get into Mercury retrograde, of trying to get things done, especially when it comes to, romance or partnership or, signing contracts. Venus also rules contracts. So you really could be like, this week, I need to get all of my ducks in a row. I need to get everything set. And that would be my highest recommendation, is for you to do that now during this time. So we also have Mars semi-sextile Pluto on this day as well. So I think this energy could give you the drive that you've been needing too. After that square we had with Mars last week, the semi-sextile is a softer and a little bit of an easier aspect. So I think coming up, at the end of this week, you'll feel more energy, a little more fire, a little more passion for your day-to-day. And I think a little more passion for your dreams that maybe you would set aside, or you've been working on them for so long, and now, this is a pivotal week for you. And I think especially after lunar eclipses and solar eclipses, which we had end of December and mid-January in Cancer and Capricorn, the following lunar events like the full moon and new moon up until the next eclipse season in June can act as triggers for new things to come in and for new adventures. So especially, if you are a Leo rising, or you are a Cancer rising or Capricorn rising, Aquarius rising, someone with Leo or, Cancer or Capricorn on an angle, whether it's on your 7th house, 4th house, 10th, or 1st, these people can, I think, really experience some swift stuff coming in, swift relationships, swift jobs, swift life change, get pregnant. I feel like there's the full moon in Leo for you rising sign specifically can kind of get triggered in a certain way. Just very, very interesting. Or even Libra rising. You guys have Capricorn in your IC. So those are just kind of some of the signs. Again, if you want to know by sign what's happening for you this month, don't forget, get your personalized by sign horoscopes, not personalized for you specifically, but for your rising sun and moon. But yeah, I don't think this week is as intense as we've been feeling in terms of emotionally changes, shifts. But I think that it's acting as a last minute push to kind of get some things done, get some things through. There can be some trigger changes that have kind of been, kind of like a domino effect from the eclipse season that we just had and the Pluto-Saturn conjunction. But generally, I think that this is really a time to maximize your energy, because as we head into Mercury now in shadow in Pisces, and then there's going to be more retrogrades after that. So we're not going to have planets direct for a while. So right now it's a time to just take advantage of that. And I really I want you guys to comment below, if you have any thoughts on what you experienced last week, if you watched my report last week, if you have any thoughts on what you are experiencing now, definitely share them below. We would love to read them. And I hope you all have a fabulous week. Don't forget, check out my memberships below. We survive and thrive as a company, and we can share this female empowerment and cosmic wisdom with you because of you. So I feel like I sound like PBS or something, but it's whatever. So I'm Adam, your favorite astrologer. I hope you all enjoyed my weekly Astro Report, and I will see you again back here on Sunday. Bye.